Hello, active and attractive ladies. How are you guys doing today? My God, we are back here again inside of our community. And ladies, I cannot express to you how thrilled I am to get into this conversation, especially after all of the hard conversations, the interesting dynamics that we have been discussing around masculine and feminine. Can I tell you how much I love the newness that I can see on everyone around what this is bringing up for them? Because for some of you guys, or for everybody, it's a completely different thing. Some of you guys have been so familiar with the masculine and feminine, and I love hearing the input of what you guys have to share, because at the end of the day, Lindy, hello girl, what's up? Hello, and the Lindy's in the house. Everybody, howdy, howdy. I know that some people who have had an extensive experience around the masculine and feminine have really strong definitions. And this is one of my favorite things about the masculine and feminine is I really think that it is what you make it. It ends up coming down to how you define masculine and how you define feminine is what it gets to be. Lauren, how are you, girlfriend? I'm happy to see you here. Yes. So with that, what I want to do, Ashley's here. What's up, girl? What I want to do with you ladies is really talk about my definitions of masculine and feminine, because my journey of exploring the masculine and feminine started from not the healthiest place, really. It started from me literally finding out that I was being broken up with. And then I hunted on google.com how to get your ex-boyfriend back. And I went down this reckless road of trying to understand male psychology, how to create a pull, an attraction in somebody who has already said they don't really want to be together anymore. And ultimately realizing after years and years that the different definitions of masculine and feminine can go as far high as the woo-woo or as practical as psychology and science. But at the end of the day, what we notice is that people have patterns. We ourselves have patterns. You ladies, Lauren, Ashley, Lindy, you ladies have patterns. And if we know deep down that in order to have the best life that we want, in order to meet ourselves in the dream of what we're trying to create for ourselves, we first have to understand ourselves. And sometimes in the pursuit of understanding ourselves, it can be a little bit difficult to just get clarity. So my proposition for our class today is that rather than diving into self first, let's have a look at the patterns and rhythms of other people. How does masculine and feminine show up in other people? I want to hear from you ladies. Who in your life do you feel like has a very strong feminine presence based on how you define it? Who in your life do you know has a strong feminine presence in your definition? And can you describe that person? What is he or she like? What tells you that, wow, they're very much in their feminine? I'd love to hear. I have a girlfriend. This woman is literally one of the most fluttery people. I mean, this woman is like, she's literally the definition of a butterfly. Like her personality just flutters everywhere. She's all about how she feels, and her energy is always felt. Like you can't not feel how she's feeling because she's so in tune with herself that her feminine essence is strong, and you can tell that she makes her decisions on what she does from the place of how she feels. She's a very, very strong-willed person, but it's very beautiful because it really comes from her and how she feels. Let's see, Ashley says, what if I have a hard time finding someone that exemplifies a strong, healthy feminine? I have to think about that one. And see, this right here to me showcases our relationship with the feminine, right? Maybe we have a hard time finding that expression outside. And even more so, Ashley, you use a very specific word, a healthy representation of the feminine. What does that mean? I feel like you're looking at my notes because today, ladies, what we're going to do is I'm going to define to you 4 archetypes of people that help us look at the whole spectrum of what the masculine and feminine can be. And my intention is that you're able to see that on other people. And when you can point it out in others, you're that much closer to being able to identify where you are in your masculine and your feminine. So Pastor Becky Hennessy, who's actually in this group right now, I hope she feels hecka flattered because literally, I agree with that. I think she has a very strong feminine presence. She takes care of herself. She loves how she feels. And although she does a lot, she runs a big company. She really puts herself out there. She's always fighting for the underdog. I know she's always on the move. You can tell that she carries herself. She takes care of herself the best she can. And that is a very, very cool representation of the feminine. Hello, Kaylin, what's up? Hi, guys. I love when you guys come to the lives live. It's very special to me. So thank you, ladies, for being here. So let me know, ladies, this might be a little bit easier for you. Who do you know in your life that has a very strong representation of the masculine? A masculine energy. Let me hear from you, ladies. Who in your life do you know has a very strong representation of the masculine energy? And what I expect is that everybody will be able to pull one example of someone who has a strong masculine energy, because if you've noticed, the thing with the masculine energy is if we had to weigh which one's more common out of the two with people, it tends to be the masculine. It tends to be the masculine. So who do you know that has a very strong representation of the masculine in your life? Let me hear what you guys have. Let's see. Masculine. The first one that popped into my head, because I'm going with healthy representations, is Edwin Ennis, one of my father figures. Ooh, so somebody who represents father figure. And this dude is also always on the move, taking action, making things happen. For those of you guys who don't know Edwin, Ashley and I both know who this guy is, and he is very much a support system and producing events. This dude is like out of this world. If you wanted to put something together for your business or your brand, this guy has it down, and you will know that your thing will get done because he's around. Very strong masculine presence. Now, again, Ashley, I love that you use the word healthy because in my opinion too, he's got a very healthy dynamic with it. And so for those of you guys who are new to this conversation, the masculine and feminine is something that we're wanting to achieve balance with. The goal of our masculine side, the side of us that is willing to do things, to take action, to make sure things are accomplished. We want to make sure that when we're stepping forward with our masculine, we're not only leading from that place. The feminine side of us is the side that says, hey, I care about how I feel. So when we operate just from masculine, we end up finding ourselves burnt out because there's no thought in our minds that have said, hey, how do you feel? Are you feeling okay? Do you need a rest? Do you need to not take on as much? Or are you going to continue to go? And when we operate too far in our feminine, we end up caring so much about how we feel that we end up not taking action, and both sides can be problematic. So the intention with these conversations is that we're really looking at how can we find a healthy expression of both so that we can accomplish what it is that we want to accomplish, but also feel good while we're doing it. And ladies, every single one of you here right now, I know you have big dreams. I know you have things that you want to do in this lifetime. Whether it's leave a legacy through your message, whether it's to build a family and a home, where your kids can grow up and feel safe and strong and confident to go out into this world, whether it's to make massive amounts of money in business, or whether it's to have deep, romantic, passionate, and loving, supportive relationships in your life, I know that you desire to create an impact. And the idea here is that on your journey to create a magnificent world, we want you to feel healthy and good while you do it. We want you to feel healthy and good while you do it. So Lindy says, my dad and my stepmom for the masculine energy. So notice, ladies, this is not a male-female thing. It's the number one question I get. They're like, why are we putting gender on things? It's like, gender is not just about what genitals you have. Gender in metaphysics, the law of gender represents the idea that we have duality in two sides of us. So no male can only be masculine and no female can only be feminine. We all have both. So in Lindy's case, her dad and stepmom both carry strong masculine energy, and I feel that they actually suits them very, very well. I think that's so cool, Lindy. Wow. So ladies, what I want to bring to us today is the conversation of what does the masculine and feminine look like outside of ourselves, and what are the different dynamics? Because there are relationships in your life that are just smooth as butter. It's like you meet up with this person, you have the girlfriend that you don't even have to speak, she already knows what you need. And there are some people in your life that you go up to and you try to act the same with the same capacity, and for some reason the relationship just feels like there's always this resistance, there's this conflict. And a lot of times what I've seen for myself is that when I run into the people with conflict, my go-to belief is like, what did I do wrong? Why is this not working out? I said the same thing that I said to this person, but it's not translating the same with this person. Why is that? Sometimes we're trying to create projects, or maybe we're doing things in teams. And when we try to connect with one person and we get very specific, get very direct with communication and telling them what to do, some people it lands and they go off and they take action, and other people, they get really emotional and defensive. It's like, why is that? This all comes down to our masculine and feminine energies. In Dallas, one of the stories I want to share with you ladies is I have been collaborating with some women, and we have been putting on events in Dallas in our design area or art community. It has been some of the most fun I've experienced because I am very, very new to event planning. I've never hosted events in real life. I've done most of my work online with you ladies, and it has been an adventure to not only put events together for people to receive impact and see new art and have strong conversations and personal development, but it's been a whole nother thing to collaborate with other women. And the stereotype with collaboration with women, what do you guys normally hear when you hear multiple women getting in the room together? Most people will say that this can be a very catty situation, and that's not normally what I experience. However, when you get new people in the room who've never worked together, and each individual person has been running their own business for a very long time, there's a little bit of a transition period where styles of communication have to be considered to get this whole event to be produced and to happen. So one of the things that I was noticing as we were all trying to move this event forward is that some women carried a very strong masculine presence in the way that they spoke, and the way that you could rely on them to get things done, and the way that they were able to just move emotions out of the way or jump over the emotion to just go take action and disregard the other person's feelings. I've seen how some women were very sensitive to other people's actions, or when they decided to take action, it came from a place of, I want this to feel a specific way. And so I'm sitting here and I'm watching this come together, and I'm watching myself and I'm watching these ladies. And the best part is we all are very, very congruent. But because these are new relationships, none of this is expected. We haven't been able to see each other in this capacity yet. And so it was interesting to see how we were coming together to create something great. But there were moments where there was a little tension and also a little ease. There were moments where things flowed like butter, and there were moments where it was just on the edge of impact, barely. Woo. So this is what happens moment to moment with the people that we care about. It doesn't have to be just business relationships. It could be with your spouse or the person you've said I do with. These dynamics can happen between people that you've known for years, and they can shift relationships that you've had for years. Or this could be something that you meet a new person that you know you really like, and you guys are learning how to communicate back and forth. Cambria made it in the house, girl. Hello. Masculine and feminine is everywhere. And the more we're able to identify it in other people, we ourselves can figure out where to position ourselves and also give respect to where the other person is, while also learning how we want to show up in the situation. So Ashley says, not to make a sweeping, oh, wait. So Lindy said, there have been a few women that I have connected with in our moving around. So Lindy has spent time traveling in an RV for a while. And so she's been all over. And as you guys have been moving, I barely knew them, yet I felt like I loved them on a soul spirit level. I don't feel that with everyone I meet, and it was so deep feeling. I don't know why. So all we know in that scenario for sure, Lindy, is that whatever balance of masculine and feminine you have within yourself was perfectly dancing with these women and their balance of masculine and feminine. So I love the feeling of when you meet someone, and some relationships, it's very feminine, like the whole relationship is just how good you feel. And other relationships, it's like very masculine, but you don't collide into each other. It's like, you want to get this done? I'll get this done. Let's go. Boom, 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 boom. And other relationships, it's this perfect balance of my masculine is stronger and my femme is a little bit weaker, but your feminine is a lot stronger and your masculine is not as. And so when we come together, we're able to really read each other very well to create whatever that relationship is supposed to create in our lives. It's very, very beautiful. So I love, Lindy, that you're feeling that with people, because that means that you're open to what is in front of you. And that's really ultimately our goal, is to be able to connect with people without misunderstanding. That's a healthy relationship. Ashley said, not to make a sweeping generalization, but I just realized that I lead with my masculine and I'm high in the I and D, and the DISC assessment makes me want to study how the two things correlate. So some of my favorite things about defining the masculine and feminine is not to put it in a box, but it's to really look at it and see, all right, where am I on the spectrum, or where is this person on the spectrum, so that I can better navigate. And the archetypes we're going to be diving into, ladies, my intention is that you're able to assess the people around you, where you can actually navigate them more, have a better respect and understanding for them and their personal point on their journey, and then also potentially have a strong conversation for the relationships where you really know you want to keep, but you can't figure out how to move it in a way where both of you feel good. So what I want to share with you now is the 4 archetypes that allow us to really get clarity on where other people are. So ladies, let me know down below if you're ready for this, because I'm very, very excited to talk to you about this. This came to me very recently, and I want to share that all of this that we're talking about is fully defined by me. Now, I'm not going to say that other people aren't saying this, but the reason I'm saying that this is defined by me, Lindy's ready, is because I want you to know that this is all my perspective. This is all my experience coming together to create a concept, and I promise you, I'm probably not the only person saying it. Other people are most likely saying it in different words. So if you've heard this before, or you've never heard it before, I just want to put a disclaimer that I'm taking full ownership over everything I'm saying. And I don't want you to feel like this is a concrete thing set in stone or there is a right or wrong here. This is all just for our own awareness and our own self-understanding, because sometimes when everything feels a little bit abstract, you're like, I just feel something with this person and I can't quite give words to it. It's really nice to have a general point of reference, and that's what I want these archetypes to be for us, right? So the first archetype is something that when I first encountered, I don't know quite how I felt about it. Now, oddly enough, this archetype ended up matching me frequently, meaning there were a lot of women that I encountered that would show up with this energy, and I ended up pairing very well with them. Now, all four of these archetypes are not necessarily ideal. I want you to look at these as ends of a spectrum, because not one is wrong and not one is bad. But most of the time, when we see this in other people, there's probably not a leeway for the second person in the relationship. It's a little bit more of a my way or the highway kind of thing. So in this first archetype, the first archetype I'm calling the high feminine, a highly expressed feminine. Now, with the high feminine archetype, these are the people in your life who most likely, if you gave them a word, you'd probably call them high maintenance. They have this feeling that's like every decision they make is based on how they feel. And if it's inconvenient for them, or it disrupts their atmosphere, it disrupts their routine, it disrupts the way that they feel, they're out with it. Now, I know a lot of us are probably actually reaching to be closer to this archetype, and this is why I love this concept, because this is really a spectrum. If this is the high feminine, and the goal is to get somewhere in the middle between high and low, the high feminine is that aspect of us that is almost like in this queen energy. We can't be bothered. It's like, off, get away from me. I don't want to do it that way. I'm only going to do it, or I'm only going to do things that feel good for me. Now, in my encounter, Ashley said, my sister, and ladies, if you find somebody in your life that you're like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I have encountered a lot of friendships that look like this. And the reason being is because my story is that I grew up as a people pleaser. So my high feminine encounters were actually something that I was wishing I was growing into, but I had to do a lot of inner healing, a lot of inner work to be able to get closer to that. So the high feminine archetype in your life are the people who a lot of people might describe as snobby. It's like an unbothered, you're not good enough for me, kind of, you don't disrupt how I feel. And the problem with this archetype is that in a two-way relationship, you can only do it one way. The problem with this archetype that you'll encounter is you can only do it their way. Now, from my perspective, this felt very cool for me to see in another person, because I was like, oh my gosh, like, let's make you feel comfortable. Let's make you feel happy. Let's make you feel safe. What took me years to learn is that for me, it led to a lot of burnout. The high feminine archetype demands a low masculine energy. The high feminine archetype demands a low masculine energy, meaning with this person, you will experience a lot of running around, a lot of bending out of shape, a lot of burnout, a lot of chasing, because the high feminine is unmovable. The high feminine is unmovable. Lauren says, I totally relate to that people pleasing, not focusing on what I need. It's so easy to do, girl. Like, it's so easy to do. And Lindy says that feeling that rises up in me with that description is what is that I am intimidated or scared of women that express that way, right? There's a part in us, mostly because most of us are leaning a little bit more towards the low feminine, is that the high feminine is almost like something we want to reach towards because we're so far on the other end of the spectrum that it's like, I need a little bit more of that. So when I look back, like Lauren's saying, in the people pleasing, what my heart was secretly wanting was to learn how to be a little bit more like them. These women have their standards defined, and I say women, men can carry this too. It's like they have their standards defined. You cannot move them. Where I'm over here moving at every single thought and it's like I was so far on the other end of the spectrum that the high feminine was appealing to me. Now, the beauty of health, ladies, and this is why we're talking about this, is our goal is to find our happy place somewhere in the middle. It's that when we reach towards health, we will carry properties of the high feminine, but to have flexibility is the goal, right? We can't stay in our high feminine all the time. We're gonna find somebody else who's in their high feminine, and now you have two people who stand like this, and nothing in the relationship moves, and nothing gets done because no one's gonna do it, because I'm only gonna do it my way. You must do it for me, right? And I'm getting a little theatrical because I really want to keep this light, but these people can be very triggering in certain ways. And we want to be able to identify this in people. So Lindy says, recovering people pleaser here too. I think we're all probably just chilling in that same boat, right? Ashley says, not even in a bad way, but I totally picture Beyonce when I think of high feminine. Think about Beyonce and her style of getting things done. This woman has a level of high feminine that produces her brand and her style of performance and who she is. So this is why I say this is not a condemnation on this style, because as we've talked before, the masculine and feminine is something we're always pushing and pulling, moment to moment, goal to goal, desire to desire, person to person. With some people, we need to be high feminine. When I was dating Patrick in the beginning, I wasn't fully cognizant of it, but I kind of was cognizant of it. I needed to be more in my high feminine because I wanted to call more of his masculine out, right? It's just a dating courtship, right? It's like the dating courting dance. But if I was like that all of the time, Patrick would be burnt out. If he knew I was never going to do unless it felt good for me, well, he would literally be serving me hand and foot. Low masculine. I would not call out the best in him. And my desire is to call out the best in him the same way he calls out the best in me. So high feminine has a place. Beyonce, she calls out high feminine, but I'm sure over the years, she's had to learn to tone it down a little bit to allow her team to be able to assemble underneath her. There's a push and pull. There's a give and take. And this is the most beautiful thing to practice within ourselves. But again, we first want to identify this in other people. So Lauren says, I always felt that my nurturing nature fell towards the feminine, but yet it's almost a societal feminine expectations, far from the true high feminine. So crazy. Lauren, can you believe that nurturing in the way that I think you mean it, where you're doing things for other people, the nurturing aspect that creates your doing is actually not feminine. This shook me, girl. When I learned this, I was like, what? When we nurture to the point where we're doing things for other people, Not just feeling for other people or empathizing or just sitting with them, but doing things, nurturing. That's masculine. It's crazy. Lisa's in the house. What's up? Hi, Lisa. Nurturing is actually masculine. Mothering and tending to and picking at and telling. It shook me when I learned that, but it's masculine. It's actually a masculine thing. And so to give a frame, the high feminine has an opposite, which is obviously the low feminine. The low feminine, no wonder I'm so good at mothering. Ladies, when I tell you we do not even know we are being masculine, oh my God. And we are exhausted. Exhausted. No more. We don't mean it. That's the sad part, is we don't mean it that way. But it can happen. And so we have these conversations so we can have the awareness and decide to change our actions based on it. So the low feminine is the part of us that's so concerned. Remember, feminine is are concerned with how we feel. How we feel. But what happens when we're so concerned with how we feel that we're too afraid to move? We're too afraid to take action. We're afraid to speak up. We feel like we're easily dominated by other people. We feel like the world has a thumb on top of us and we feel it all the time. The low feminine tends to be so opposite of the high feminine that there's no standards in place. There's loads and loads of fear. And it leaves us feeling the same way, where we don't take action. There's no room for the masculine. We're just frozen in place. Lisa, I'm so happy you're here, girl. I have to listen later, running into the chiropractor. Have a good adjustment. Patrick is at the chiropractor too, so that's kind of crazy. So here's the thing. Our low feminine is an under expression of a healthy feminine. So the high feminine is an over expression. We're so feminine that we care how we feel, that there's just no room to budge. And then in the same light, the low feminine is we're so low on our feminine and how we feel that we're afraid to move. How do we find that middle balance? The women in your life who have low feminine, and if you've noticed, I've said we, most of us tend to lean a little bit lower in our feminine. Now, is this our truth? No. Is this our conditioning? Yes. And that's why we want to talk ourselves up and out of this attitude. When you see a person in your life who is afraid to speak, who's like, oh, no, that's okay. You don't have to worry about how I feel. No, that's okay. Just those women are operating in their low feminine. Very little happens to them, for them, just like the high feminine, because they push away their receiving. Who in your life do you encounter that pushes away anything that regards how they feel? Have you noticed that these people feel like they're a little easy to dominate? If you attract a lot of people in your life who have a low feminine, most likely you carry a high feminine or a high masculine, or both. We're going to get into the masculine here in a second. Who in your life carries a low feminine energy, and how do they make you feel? That's my question to you, ladies. How do these women or men make you feel, the low feminine? No, it's okay. Just let's focus on you. Like, what's going on? What do you need? Do they make you feel special and seen? It's a little interesting, huh? Lindy says, so high feminine has boundaries. The way I see it, I would argue yes. There's a relationship where the boundaries are so high that they're not willing to budge. I totally resonate with that. I used to be low femme. Most women identify with that. Bad at receiving, don't focus on me, don't look at me. The way I feel doesn't matter. Just take me out of the equation. It's okay. Just go do you, boo. But that is the low feminine. Now, the beauty of the feminine is that where we're wanting to reach you towards is a place where you're somewhere in the middle. The beauty of the low femme is that the low femme is the half of the feminine that has such a level of humility that she's willing to hear, feel, see, understand, and love another despite how she feels. The woman in your life that carries the low femme, do they not make you feel so special? They make you feel so special. It's because they put their energy and attention on you. Now, the woman with the high femme is almost admirable. It's like she can't be moved. The world can go around her, and she knows exactly how she feels. Her boundaries are up, and the world must operate the way that she wants it to operate. There's pros somewhere in there. Our intention is to find the line in the middle that you would like to operate most of your life out of, and then also be able to slide on the scale according to who you're in front of. So who in your life carries a low feminine energy? I'd love to hear if you ladies are willing to share, and it's okay if you don't. Everyone's like, it's me. I'm the low femme. I'm the problem. It's me. I relate to the low femme. It's like we can't even, it's very unlikely for two low femme women to partner. It's very unlikely, because imagine being in a relationship where both people are saying, oh no, don't you take it. No, you take it. No, you take it. Or you take it's very unlikely that two low femmes will attract. Same way the two high femmes that are like, no, it's about me. It's about me. It's about me. No, it's about you. No, it's about you. No. When you get two of the opposites, it's a much easier match. So Ashley says, I just want to shake them and tell them they can make decisions for themselves and do what is best for them. It's very, very interesting. I'll define what a healthy relationship is after we're done here. And you're going to really appreciate, based on what you said, Ashley, you're going to really appreciate where we want all of our relationships to land. So, ladies, keep this in mind for now around high femme and low femme. And I want to share with you a description of high masculine and low masculine. So, who in your life represents the third archetype, the high masculine? The high masculine. So the high masculine is one of those personality types where if the masculine is here to do, the masculine is here to make sure things get done, the masculine is here to take names and kick ass and to just go. The high masculine are the personality types who will barrel over anyone, anybody, irregardless of how they feel, to get things done. The high masculine is the type of person who literally, when you get around them, they're like ready to fight you if you get in their way to take action. It's like they dominate so much that the number one thing that they care about are the tasks and getting things done. And sometimes you're kind of like, They're the person in your life whose identity exists on how much money they make, all of their accomplishments, and they wear that with such a high badge of pride. These are the people in your life that function mostly in the high masculine. Who in your life do you see? Who comes to mind when you hear the person who does not consider other people when it comes to getting things done? I have a few people, not willing to name them, but it's wild because they're women. It's wild because they're women. And it's interesting because I do know men who have the same personality, but I feel like for me, the way that I interact with them, it's almost like I demand a conversation that requires that feminine connection. It's hard to explain. It's like when a male has high masculine, I don't know how, but I feel like I'm able to pull them down to meet me at a different place. But the women in my life, where they operate mostly in that upper high masculine, it doesn't have that same pull. It's a very interesting thing I've observed in myself. My mom is high masculine. What's scary and beautiful when you go through the healing of it, but what's scary is a lot of our moms have this high masculine intensity. And it's not wrong on their end. I think it's generational. I really believe it's generational. But most of the memes that you'll see on social media where people joke about their child healing or their traumas or their personalities or trying to get themselves to get up and take action, most of it has come from one or both of their parents, a lot of them mothers, who have such a high masculine where that willingness to drop down into sensitivity and make sure that there's a connection there emotionally, it doesn't exist. It's very interesting. Lindy says, I can think about several people who are like that, but a more healthy version of that because they do care for other people, men and women. So Lindy, I think that says a lot about you and who you call into your life, because we'll talk about this soon, but a lot of what we see in other people is an attraction point that we have within ourselves. And this is the place where I want to talk about how we can steward ourselves and our personalities, our communication, where we feel safe, what it is that we have to offer, so that we can start to call more healthy aspects out of other people. So Lindy says, I feel like I want to partner with them, but I can't keep the pace. And I begin to resent myself and being people pleasing to try to keep up with them. See, isn't that interesting? It all ties back to our patterns. Ashley says, generational for sure, based on stories I've heard on my grandma, great-grandma, great-great-grandma. My mother's mom was a cop, detective, and then a judge. INTJ type. Ashley, it sounds like it's in your DNA, girl. It's just in your DNA. We're gonna change that. Just kidding. Only if you want to. Only if you want to. Now, the fourth and final archetype is the opposite of the high, which is the low masculine. The low masculine. The low masculine is still about doing, taking action, but taking it from a place of fear, anxiousness, worry, afraid to rest, breathlessness, irritability, constantly giving, a doing from a fearful place. Still doing, the actions get done, the actions get complete, but it's low in its healthy expression. Who in your life do you know carries a low masculine energy? Who do you encounter that carries a low masculine energy? How do you experience this person? Do they make you feel good? Do they make you feel anxious like them? Do they make you feel inspired? How does the person with the low masculine energy make you feel? I know for me, there has been very much a low masculine essence in the way that I've done my life. Most of the people that I've interacted with before recently, I operated from a place of low masculine. I was overcommitted, over fearful, but you better believe I will get it done. It did not come from a healthy place. It came from a place of performance. And when I'd see other people doing the same thing, Ashley, just like you, I get frustrated. I would get frustrated when I saw other people in a frantic state, because although I thought I was just so cool, being cool, calm, collected, I get things done, secretly deep down, when I would see other people anxious and stressed out to get things done, the truth is in me, they were highlighting that I was the same way. The low masculine is when we get into a frantic state of proving ourselves, just like the high masculine, but out of fear. Ladies, every single one of these archetypes we will find ourselves operating in. It's gonna happen. It's the human experience. But what is guaranteed is that every one of these archetypes you will encounter in another person. How do you handle yourself when you encounter each of these people? Are you able to identify who is what? Do you know that you are so powerful that you can actually call out the healthier expression of a person in fear, of a person with pride, of a person with ego, of a person who's fatigued? Did you know that you are so powerful as a female leader that when you get yourself to a place where you're healthy and you're masculine and you're feminine, you can call the healthy out of others? Ladies, what I want for you more than anything is I want for you to feel safe in relationships. I don't know about you, but because I started my life journey in a pattern of people pleasing, I did it so much that I didn't think there was another way to show love. All subconsciously, I connected with people from a place of, if you do, I will follow. If you need it, I will give it to you. If you want it, I want it too. I created every relationship in my life to match that pattern. And when the relationship lasted and the other person showed me they loved me, I was reinforced that this is how it's going to be. But little did I know that in my underexpression of my love for myself, these people were overexpressed in their love for themselves, which meant we were both being unhealthy in our relationship. I deeply believe that the definition of a relationship is this, and I wrote it down for you guys because I really want, of all things, for us to take this away from this conversation. In every relationship, every relationship, and it doesn't matter the blend. If both people are in their masculine, if both people are in their feminine, if you can balance both, and it doesn't matter the combination, because honestly we get a lot from each of the different ones. Like there's beauty to be found in all different connection points, right? But at the core of what we are reaching for, what defines a healthy relationship, is that people want relationships where you feel like you are enough and where they feel like they are enough. A healthy relationship is one where you feel safe to be you in all of the different ways. Whether you're going through a season in your life, whether you just uncovered a certain version of your personality that you've always been wanting to bring forward, whether you are stuck in a rhythm and you can't break the pattern because you keep returning to your ex, or maybe you found a new motivation and inspiration or passion that you're really wanting to begin to operate from. When you get to feel like you are enough with all of your highs and lows, your dynamic shifts, your new affections, the things that you're focusing on, the things that you're pursuing, the style and how you carry yourself, when you feel like you are enough and the other person in the relationship says, girl, you are enough. It feels so safe and strong. But what I also know that you want to feel in a relationship is not just how a person makes you feel. I know with just as much conviction, you want the person on the other side of that relationship to feel just as strong, just as connected, just as dynamic, just as ever-changing, just as evolving, just as that you want your person to feel enough too. What we want to step away from is getting to a place where we're just so high in one or the other that it can only be our way. Because what happens in that dynamic is that means that the other person in a two-partner relationship feels this big. They're operating in fear, they're anxious, they're not enough, they're not able to speak up, they're running around for you, and I know at the end of the day, you do not want someone to feel that way when they're in your presence. Equally and oppositely, for you to be the person running around, chasing, burnt out, fearful, unable in any relationship, that's not healthy, and that's not for you. You are it. Ladies, you are it. I will tell you every day of my life, you are it. All of your beauty, all of your flaws, you are it. You are it. This stage in your process, the next stage in your process, you are it. And the moment you are able to see the highs and lows of someone else's expression, you will better be able to identify those highs and lows for you and recognize that we're here to find balance and peace between people, because in this world, we're here to do life with people. Relationships are the best thing that we could experience on this earth. I'm telling you. Money, it'll come. It'll go. It'll come again, and you'll try to throw it all away with your bad patterns. I've done it, and it still finds you when you find yourself. Money is nothing. It's like air. Feeling disconnected from people Relationships that keep showing you that you're not enough. Relationships that are so subservient that you have people you're walking on top of. I know you don't feel good with that. Ladies, to feel like you trust people, that you understand where they're coming from, that you can share your vulnerabilities, that you can trust that they will follow through. This is the safest place to exist in the world, because whether you desire to get married, to have kids, to make more money, to run a business, people are involved everywhere you go. You drive down the street, you're going to see a people. Unless you live in Kansas, in the middle of nowhere, you will see a people. And so if people are everywhere and people are an access to a source of connection that we can't get it anywhere else, why not learn to master it? So we can make decisions, we can know where to show up, we can know how to be, we can know how to feel, we can feel safe feeling, we can love feeling, we can love doing, we can trust that others will do for us. This is the goal, ladies. Health and relationships. If you have felt, Lauren, I love you so much. Oh, if you have felt unable to motivate yourself in your health and fitness, I'm talking your body goals, right? Most likely, there's a relationship somewhere in your life. It's got you twisted up in your mind a little bit. Just got you. If you have been wanting to finally find a group of friends, a group of women that you feel connected and loved with, but you keep getting the same people over and over, it's got there's something just twisted up there. If you know you have vision to create a goal or to build a business or and you want to, and the money's not coming or the people aren't, and you can't get it's normally a little relationship somewhere up in there that's got you second guessing yourself. I've seen client time and time again try to achieve their goals, and when I tell you, we have the conversation to figure out what's going on. I gave you the plan, and you're not doing the plan, what's going on in your heart? The issue's a person. Somewhere in their life, there's a person. And that person is trying to teach them to speak up. That person is trying to teach them to be more consistent. That person is trying to teach them to be themselves. That person that just driving them crazy, that person has shown up in their life as a teacher. Who is the teacher in your life that has got you wound up about the truth of who you really are? Ladies, I am so excited for this conversation, and I really do want to read what you guys have said, because I know that we have covered a lot today, and my hope is that you are able to really look outwardly and see how other people are doing it. I hate saying it because I don't believe in the process, but it's natural and it's something that we could use constructively. So when you assess, or you could call judge, other people and see their patterns, it's a really great way to get constructive and begin to see patterns and recognize, oh wait, I got some patterns of my own. I need to look at me a little bit. So Lauren says, it's funny because the low masculine of doing out of fear reminds me of being younger and playing sports and knowing I need to outperform so I won't hear my mistakes from my parents. It's people. It's people. Lauren, you'll probably hear me at some point talk about how exercise will showcase our relationship with execution. Exercise will showcase our relationship with execution. So if you have a difficulty, say for example, in getting yourself to the gym or pushing yourself harder in your workouts, or just choosing an exercise that you really find passionate because you keep doing things that you think you're supposed to and you really want to do things that you want to, whatever your relationship is with exercise, it comes from your patterns of executing. And those same patterns of executing came from a place, a magical place. It tends to come from our patterns in childhood. So this is where it derives from. It's people. And we continue to stay in our low masculine because we're afraid of getting our hands slapped. We're anxious about it. We continue to stay in our high feminine because we learned somewhere along the road that if I just don't allow other people to make decisions in my life, then they can't hurt me. We have these patterns. The people in your life have these patterns because of people. We're going to claim all of this back. We are reclaiming relationships because everyone deserves to be happy, right? Ashley says, I feel like as long as I'm aware of myself, I can actually handle all the archetypes. I really have to make sure to prioritize my self-care. Welcome to the brand, Active and Attractive. I'm so happy you're here. Ashley, I love that. I could not agree more. That is so the vibe right there. Lauren says, love these conversations because it's so true that so much was instilled in us younger and now we can become more self-aware. You already said it, girl. You already said it. Lindy says, I think that's why I have been so frustrated when my husband wants me to make a decision because I felt I couldn't make my own decisions. So, and if I make my own decisions, I felt like it was going to be wrong. Lindy, so I stayed in my low masculine, or more so my low feminine, because I was afraid, I was afraid of experiencing the feeling of being wrong. So I didn't speak, and somebody has to do something, right? So rather than doing it myself, I would attach or cling onto someone else who would speak. Therefore, I developed codependencies. I never had to be challenged to speak up because I was able to find other people who would do that for me. So when we go through a reckoning of finding ourselves, we're going to see a lot of relationships change. And it doesn't all have to be bad. But when you recognize a pattern dynamic with you and another person you care about, and you realized it doesn't make you happy anymore, it's no longer a healthy pattern for you, and you want to get healthier, what you're actually going to end up asking the other person is that they get healthier too. And that little riff right there, if you're not willing to walk the walk, this is why you'll see relationships continue to repeat over and over and over again. But ladies, I'm telling you, you are so strong. You are so strong. You'd be amazed at how easy it is to change a dynamic that you never thought would change. Our outward expression is like, well, they won't and they won't. They will if you will. They will if you will. And we'll talk a lot about that in our upcoming masterclasses, so don't you worry. Ashley said, oh my God, I had this exact conversation with my husband right before the session, see? And let's see, Lindy said, I think a lot of it is in the religious ingrained idea that I need to submit and give everyone else, and anything I do for myself is selfish, and my husband should always be the one. Don't get me started. And if I lead, then we are out of balance. So I need to make myself small to help everyone else. I have made progress in all of these areas in mindset, but still in the process, girl. I've got so much to say on that one. And that dynamic right there, it's got the heart space. It's kind of like what Lauren was saying. Hey, I'm nurturing you. I'm loving you. I'm showing you that I love you. I'm going to do things for you so that you don't have to do things, because that's the way I want to show that I love you. And it's like the heart space is correct, but the action develops other actions that aren't sustainable. And for you to always be in a subservient place means you will never take action which means you have to find other people that take action. And when life calls on you to be an independent person in a moment of action, you'll be kind of like, it'll feel like you're this. The truth is, you can do it. But what it'll feel like, because it's not an action you've practiced yet, it'll feel like this. And the biggest lie we'll ever hear is that other people will be out of balance when we change. If you know where you're going and you know why, where you're taking the relationship to the next level, I promise you, it will be healthier. We're always evolving, ladies. It's the most beautiful thing. So, Lindy, I know exactly what you're talking about. And when Patrick and I first got married, I was like Miss Independent, and then all of a sudden I was like, wait, he's supposed to be the man, so I gotta. And so our money like nosedived because I thought I was supposed to let him manage all of that, but he didn't have the same skill set that I had, and so it was like this whole rearranging thing. I will share all of that with you guys at some point, but we have to find a nice step, and it's possible. I want to share with you, ladies, whatever relationship you do not think is possible to change, I will promise you can upgrade it. So Ashley says, now why did you say that? My execution is severely lacking and I can't hardly motivate myself to exercise. Welcome to self-awareness. Okay, so ladies, we've gone a little bit over time. I like to keep these around an hour just to respect everyone's time and encourage you guys to come in. But ladies, this is a reckoning. Like this realization, and the reason I feel super convicted to share is because the moment I realized it was the beginning of my journey to get my power back. It gives people the space to be them. Our goal is to not change anybody. We're not here to change people. That's the high femme. I am not here to change you. You change yourself, right? But we do want to stand in a specific way that allows people to rise if they choose. A healthy feminine is a woman who knows what she wants, and she's willing to go do it herself. And if another healthy masculine wants to pair with her and help her, he can. But it's a positioning game, not the woman who's telling him what to do. But there's a way to carry ourselves that allows a masculine force, presence, person to come in and want to partner with us. That's way different, way, way different. And for those of you guys who love the woo-woo and you love manifestation and all of that stuff, the same thing is true. If you're desiring to manifest more money, more clients, more people, more energy, more whatever, there's a certain way that you carry yourself when it comes to receiving more from life. It's a positioning thing. It's very much an internal experience. So if you're used to going after life, trying to control it and get it together and grab it and go chase it, and you're tired, this is all a part of that conversation. And we'll talk about this more. All right, ladies. So continue. Okay, so your homework, I'm going to say this is a homework essence. Your homework is to go out today and notice people from the 4 archetype standpoint. Who do you encounter that carries much more of a high femme attitude? Who carries a lower femme attitude? Who do you speak to that carries a high masculine attitude? And who runs around in their low masculine? None of these are for you to judge from a standpoint of making assumptions, but it is to assess to see, how do I end up experiencing this person based on their patterns? And how do they make me feel when I'm around them? Which relationships make you feel good? And which relationships make you feel bad? We want to get after the ones that don't make you feel very good. The reason being is because if it makes you feel good, we want to keep it. Keep that thing in your life. If it makes you feel bad, We're just gonna erase that from your life. No, I'm just kidding. We want to convert that into something that feels good. We don't judge bad things. We say, all right, is this something, how can I convert this into a more positive experience? Because if it doesn't make me feel good, it's probably something I need to learn about myself. So in this journey of discovery, ladies, we are active women doing the active work, and our goal is to become more attractive, energetically aligned with what we want and how we feel and how we do things. This is our intention. So no matter what your goal is, love, money, fun, healthy body, you do have the ability to have it all. And for right now, our goal is to align your relationships so that you feel safe and warm and supported and like you can contribute to it, and it feels good everywhere you go. So ladies, please share your stories. Please share the things that you are wanting to, or that you encounter inside of the group. Feel free to post, feel free to put pictures, share your stories. I would love to hear more. And throughout the next few weeks, I'll be popping on lives to kind of carry this conversation forward. We'll have another official masterclass at some point that I'll announce after a while. But for now, ladies, you've got this so much. You've got this so much. Don't be afraid to look at anything. Everything you see, we get to change. All right? So with that being said, I love you guys so much. Here is to becoming more active and attractive. And I'll see you guys in our next Facebook Live. Bye.